Hey YouTube, how are we? Hopefully I made this video public. Uh, Sometimes I forget to do that. Anyway, um, thought I'd jump on, do a little bit of a live, just give you guys the update. I just went and saw the doc. I can't tell if this is public or unlisted. Like it's got no people watching. Must be on. Oh, no, hang on. There's people coming in. Yeah, all right, okay. It is public. There we go. People are arriving. All right, sorry for the weird start there. Um, G'day, everybody. There we go. Now I get some people coming in, and now it makes more sense. How are we, ladies and gents? Hope you're well. I just thought I'd give you guys the update. I just went to the doc, as you may have seen in the post where I put out a little poll not too long ago. I had got an ultrasound scan done this afternoon on my right shoulder. Yep, for the right shoulder, and the diagnosis was that I have significant damage in my labrum. So the labrum is what John's shoulder issue was. He tore his labrum many years ago. So it looks like I have done the same. Um, he couldn't give me the exact extent of the damage from the ultrasound, and he said, get an MRI done. You'll be able to know exactly the degree of the damage on the labrum itself. Um, he also said there was a lot of fluid around my tendon bicep and my bicep tendon and my rotator cuff tendon. He said there's an abnormal amount of fluid around them. He said there's a lot of scarring on those tendons as well. I asked him, does he see anything in those tendons that were suggestive of an acute injury being a possibility? He said there was no sign of a tear or a weakness in those tendons. He said, however, there is a lot of thickness on those tendons, um, which makes sense when I described to him what I do and I showed him kind of the positions I get into and how I train side pressure, for instance. Um, Obviously, internal rotation and bicep tendon gets put under a lot of stress in arm wrestling. So it made sense that they were thickened and had lots of scarring from lots of sort of micro tears. So I wasn't too worried about that. The fluid around those tendons, he said, was an indication of tendinosis, which is just inflammation of the tendons. Um, so tendinosis, the body just putting all that fluid around those tendons to try to protect them, to try to just allow them to repair a little bit. So that's that. But I guess the biggest thing was the labrum. So for me, when I describe my shoulder to a doc, I say moving it in any direction hurts. There is no one direction that hurts more or hurts less. Moving my shoulder in any direction hurts right now. It just depends on how much load there is. So you increase the load in any direction, it hurts. And the pain is kind of described as really deep down in the shoulder. So it makes sense. It's kind of what John Brzenk went through and always dealt with his labrum. I have many friends that have actually been through similar. Jordan Davis had big shoulder issues for a long time. He never got the scan though, so we don't know. But Tom Glacier, he has torn labrum, dealt with that. So it's something that I'm just glad I know because it means that I can approach it correctly. So for me, it doesn't really, honestly, guys, it doesn't really change too much. What it does for me, and I was doing this instinctively anyway. No, definitely no surgery. A few people asking for surgery. I don't believe surgery. Although we will wait and see what the extent of the labrum damage is once I get an MRI. But for me, it doesn't really change much because it just means I instinctively back off on my side pressure whilst I do some rehab, whilst I get some soft tissue therapy, and it means I work on my hand. There's always something. There's always something that you can work on, and cupping, pronation really doesn't involve my shoulder at all. Like the good news is when you compete in arm wrestling, no one can force you to commit your shoulder. So I can still arm wrestle at the highest level. No dramas at all. I don't feel like I can't at all, and so I'll continue to compete. That's for sure. It'll just mean that I take a different approach to the next few months. So I don't think there was one particular moment. There wasn't a match or anything where I did this. I believe this is just an overuse sort of thing. Um, the tendinosis and the swelling, I believe, is a result of me just really committing my shoulder hard in the last few weeks of this month gone by. And the reason I was doing that was I was preparing for this Australian tour and there was one match against Gunter Bykovs where I was really thinking I needed to really heavily commit my shoulder to be able to beat him. So it was training for that I think caused the tendinosis, but the actual labrum issues, which we don't know the full extent of yet, and we just know there's damage there. The labrum is just, I think it's an overuse. I don't really know. There was never one moment, but yeah. So anyway, that's the update, guys. How you doing, everyone? I got a bunch of people on there making some comments. Yeah, just developed that nasty Brzenk-like hand from DVT 583. Yeah, man. That's the cool thing. I genuinely love this sport that you don't have to stop. I know it's Devin Larratt's thing. It was one of the rules that Devin Larratt gave when he first came to Australia. He was like, love arm wrestling, don't get injured, and even when you do, never stop. Devin's 3 rules. So we're always managing injuries. We're always managing. There's no one in the arm wrestling world that isn't managing injuries, managing pain. So, like I said, I don't really see this as a problem. I see this as actually get excited about it. I get excited because I think a lot of my competitors, when faced with something like this, would kind of put themselves on the back burner. They'd kind of take it easy. It kind of almost, some people would even give up. But to me, this is exciting because it means that I get to do something that my competitors and opponents wouldn't necessarily do when faced with the same challenge. And that therefore takes me to another level. So I'm excited to rehab through this. I'm going to go and see my myotherapist and get some soft tissue work done, get some really well prepared rehab, and I'm going to make my hand and wrist my focus for the next few months. Cupping, pronation, which is going to mean that Jordan Davis is going to murder me, because the only way I can currently beat Jordan Davis is to use my shoulder. So if you see me and Jordan training over the next few weeks with me just trying to use my hand against him, it's going to be nasty. Anyway, let's have a look at some more comments. Shane Carey just tore a tendon in his right elbow. Need to go to the doctor. No good, brother. Outside pulling from now on. No, Nathan, this doesn't mean that I need to be an outside puller. You can be an inside puller with your hand and wrist being the predominant focus, for sure. By no means does it mean that I have to be an outside puller only. Yeah, overuse is the thing. There's nothing really that bad about it. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, from Waleed. What does Todd Zilla think about this? I haven't spoken to Todd Zilla specifically. I just had this diagnosis done literally an hour ago. So I haven't spoken to Todd. I've spoken to my dad. I've spoken to Jordan and Lachlan, and I've spoken to social media. So that's about it. But anyway, I'm sure Todd will have the same answer as I'm having in my own head. Same answer that Devin would give, same answer that John would give. I'll definitely speak to John, because John has lived this torn labrum situation. And John had the torn labrum from very early on, and he still went on and did massive things, as we know. So it doesn't bother me at all, really. That's just part of the journey of climbing this ladder that we call arm wrestling. So, yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you're well, wherever you are in the world. Yeah, hope you're well. I'm just catching up on a few more comments. A few just came through. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Guys, go and follow me on TikTok. I don't know if you got TikTok or not, but I have had, literally, like, what am I up to? I'm just short of 7,000 followers on there in like a week. It's crazy. Anyway, it's like my highlight reel. It's where I put all my highlights from matches. But anyway, guys, talk to you again later, and thanks for tuning in.